بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. The topic that we're going to talk about today is a principle that is quoted nowadays known as أقل الشرين, the lesser of the two evils. Okay, so the lesser of the two evils. All right, on the board, inshallah. You pass me those pens. It's just there. I don't want to drag my laptop off the table. Okay, lesser of the two evils. Okay, so in order for us to understand this principle and where people have spoken about it or quoted it or what they refer to, we need to understand certain principles of the principles. Okay, so we need to understand the usul of laying down principles in the Sharia. Okay, al-qawa'id al-kulliyah. How do we establish what is a principle in the Sharia, and when is it valid, when is it invalid, when is it wrong, what is the best way to understand all of these principles? So before I even really touch on the topic, I want to talk about this, because the fact is people are using this idea as an excuse to permit certain crimes, certain major crimes against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, crimes against the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and people want to commit those crimes but they can't find justification, so they use this principle to make it permissible for themselves or to justify why they are doing so, including the topic of voting for MPs or voting for councillors or mayors and so on. So I will briefly explain to you what the argument is, and then we'll talk about this principle inshallah as far as usul al-fiqh is concerned, as far as the Sharia from Quran and Sunnah speaks about it. So the argument that people they have is they point out certain realities. Okay, they will say first of all that number one, we are living in non-Muslim countries as a minority. Okay? They will say we have no authority here. Okay, i.e., we cannot implement Sharia. Okay, or implement Islam, I just put. Okay, and they will also say that these democratic elections, okay, okay, they are kufr. They will admit that it is kufr, okay, and shirk. Okay, but, and this is the bit they want to add. They say but, okay, but we need to vote, okay, in order to remove, okay, or ward off a greater evil. Okay, this is one of the points. Okay, and they will say also that, okay, they will say to achieve benefit. Okay, we need to achieve the benefit. Okay, because they say the Sharia, aims are to achieve benefit and prevent harm. Okay, so what they say is, in addition to that, okay, just to lay out all of their argument for you, so nobody's confused and think that we didn't hear what they have to say, or that we didn't understand what they're arguing, where they're coming from. We know exactly where they're coming from. They'll also say that no matter what we do, okay, no matter what we do, okay, the elections will take place. Okay, they're going to happen, and somebody's going to win. Okay, somebody's going to win. Some kafir is going to come into power anyway. So in other words, they want to say, the whole point they want to say to you is, look, whether you vote or you don't vote, somebody's going to become, some taghut ruling by man-made laws anyway. Okay, so you not voting is not going to have any impact, but voting will have a little bit of impact. So they will say, our vote can impact, okay, and lessen the harm, okay, or lessen the evil. Okay, and so they say, therefore, and this is the nukta, the point that they want to make. So that therefore we should choose the lesser evil candidate okay, to stop the greater evil candidate. The funny thing is, if you think about it, what they're actually saying, if a kafir understood what they're saying, they think we're all a bunch of radicals. Because basically, what they're arguing is that all of those kuffar are evil anyway, and we don't believe in the democracy, but we should just take advantage of it to get what we want, and to lessen the evil of all these evil MPs. If you say that to the kafir, instead of all this smiles and shaking the hands, they're going to think, who the hell are you? A bunch of immigrants come here, call us evil. That's what they're going to say. At least we're up front and we say, no, we don't believe in democracy and we're not going to vote for you, any of you. At least we're honest, at least we're straightforward. They complain to you, you condemn the government, but then you take benefits. If you take benefits, it's halal for you anyway. But then what exactly are they saying? They're saying they disbelieve in democracy, they believe it's kufr, but they should vote anyway, okay, while hating it in their heart and hating all those evil MPs in their heart, to get a bit of benefit, to get something out of it. Maybe a bit of funding, maybe a bit of masajid building, permission, whatever. That's exactly what they want out of the elections. So their argument of the lesser of the two evils is all based upon all this theory that they have. This idea that no matter what you do, the elections are going to take place, somebody's going to win, and some kafir are going to come to power, whatever happens. So at least we've got a chance of choosing one which is less evil than the other candidate. Okay, and so they base this upon, and they call this the principle of aqallu sharrayn, the lesser of the two evils. Okay, the lesser of the two evils. We pick the lesser of the two evil MPs. Okay, now the problem that we have with this principle, okay, is a number of problems. The first one is that it's a fake principle. Okay, it's not a principle based upon Quran and Sunnah, or from the understanding of the Salaf, or the Sahaba, nothing like this at all. This idea of all this evil out there in the world, that Allah said, choose the lesser evil and follow that. No, Allah said, leave all the evil and follow the haqq. That's what Allah ordered us to do. He said, وَمَا أَتَاكُمْ وَرَسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. He said, whatever the Prophet gives you, orders you, take it. And whatever he forbids you from, what did he say? Take the lesser of the evils? No, he said, leave it. Okay, he said, leave the haram, leave the prohibited things, leave whatever the Prophet forbade, leave whatever Allah forbade you. Don't do it. That's the basic principle of the Sharia. The basic principle of usul is what? We please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by obeying His commands and following His own, His revelation. That's the basic principle of achieving the Ridwan Allah, the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We achieve it by doing good deeds, meaning we obey Allah. We do what He ordered and we leave what He forbade. Okay? There's nothing called that Allah created you in this dunya so you can chase the dunya benefits by taking all the haram but the lesser haram only. No. Allah created us to test us to see which one of you is best in deeds, best in actions. Which one of you will leave all the sins, leave all the disobedience and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exclusively. And that's the one who favors the akhirah over the dunya. Whereas the one who disobeys Allah in order to chase some benefit in this dunya, even some temporary benefit in this dunya, this life, he's the one, he has favored the dunya, this life, over the hereafter. Okay, which is not what we're after. So the first thing that we want to point out here is a valid principle in the Sharia, okay, in Usul al-Fiqh, that we say Al-Qa'ida la tathbutu illa bidalilin min al-kitab wa sunnah. Okay, Al-Qa'ida, I'm not talking about terrorist organization here, I'm talking about the principle. Okay, a principle, la tathbutu, it will never be accepted or established or valid illa bidalilin min al-kitab wa sunnah, except with an evidence from the Quran and Sunnah. You can't just come up with the principle how you like, make it up. Okay, a bird in hand is worth. No, you don't just make a principle, call it Sharia principle, Usul al-Fiqh. I said, don't bite the hand that feeds you. That's not Sharia principle. That's old woman's saying, in Britain. Yeah, stitch in time saves nine. Yeah, it might be a little wise little tidbit, but it's not a Sharia principle. Sharia principle based upon Quran and Sunnah. Don't just say to me, lesser of the two evils, akhi, it's allowed. Akhi, halal haram doesn't come from, I just make it up on the spot. I make up my own saying and I call it qaida and I call it a principle. No. Al-Qa'ida la tathbutu illa bidalil min al-kitab wa sunnah. A principle will never be valid except with an evidence from the Quran and Sunnah. So what exactly is the evidence for this principle? When did Allah ever say to you, take the lesser of the two evils? When? Okay. In the time when we speak about the ulama and the scholars, what they mentioned, they will quote to you certain statements of a few scholars, okay, maybe Ibn Taymiyyah or Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab, one or two statements where they mention the idea of lesser of the two evils. Okay, not as a general principle, all the evil, gather it round and take the lesser of them, no. But they spoke about it in the context of under duress only. Okay, under the absolute duress, life and death duress. Okay, so they said when you have no other choice, you're being forced to do the sin. At that point it's no longer evil, no longer a sin for you because you have the permit, you have the rukhsah. But if the kafir puts a gun to your head and he says, look, either you're going to swear against Allah or you're going to swear against your mother. Okay? One is kufr and one is haram. Okay? Both of them sins. If he wouldn't have a gun to your head, which one we're going to say? I'm going to do one of the two? No, I won't do any of them. I'll leave them all. But because he's got the gun to your head, because it's duress, because it's life and death, because he said, I will kill you unless you do one of these two, what's he going to do? He's going to choose the lesser of the two evils. That's the only context where the idea of lesser of the two evils can exist. Because that is when the Sharia has given the permit. The Sharia has said that the one who was under duress, he will not be accountable, as long as the heart was full of iman. Okay, his heart was full of iman. Okay, but you will, of course, you will always do as much as you can, because the Prophet ﷺ said, if I order you to do something, do as much as you can, and if I forbid you from something, leave it. So even under the duress, you do as much as you can. You'll have al-ijtihad fi ta'ah. You'll exhaust utmost effort in your obedience. You'll try to obey Allah as much as you can. Prioritize. Okay, have this prioritizing. It's called al-fiqh al-awlawiyat. The fiqh of priorities. How you prioritize one over the other. The Prophet ordered us to leave the haram as a priority over doing the wajibat. Okay, so you see there's priorities here. So there are, there is in the Sharia how we prioritize between the duties when they clash. Okay, إذا تزاحم الواجبات, when the two duties clash, how do you prioritize between them? Okay, so this is only when there's real clashing. Okay, but you can't just have this idea of, I really want it, so how do I get it? I'll take the rest of the two evils. No. Okay, unless the Sharia gives you a permit specifically by divine evidence, you cannot, remove it. The other thing that we understand about, the principles in the Sharia and the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the prohibitions of Allah is the principle that al-mutlaqu la yuqayyidu illa bidalil. Whatever was unrestricted will never be restricted except by an evidence. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade the shirk, forbade the kufr, it is forbidden in all circumstances, in all times, in all places. Okay, we don't say, no, all those verses were only revealed in Mecca and Medina. So you can commit shirk in the UK, but not in Mecca and Medina. Okay, this is somebody's, their own, what can I say, zandaqa. Their own justifying their own kufr and pretending that is some kind of Islamic argument. It's not the case. So when the shirk is prohibited, it's prohibited in all times, in all places, in all circumstances, unless there's an evidence to restrict. Okay, unless there's an evidence to restrict. So on this regard, in relation to the duress and the rest of the two evils, I just want to point this out. Before I go into more detail about exactly how this application is, we just want to establish the problem with this principle from the beginning. Surah 16 verse 106, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, من كفر بالله من بعد إيمانه إلا من أكره وقلبه مطمئن بالإيمان ولكن من شرح بالكفر صدرا فعليهم غضب من الله ولهم عذاب عظيم. This verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, whoever disbelieved in Allah after he believed, except for the one who was under duress while his heart was full of iman. Okay, but even under duress, if his heart was open to the kufr, then he's like the others who commit kufr, then for him will have the anger of Allah upon him and will have a severe punishment. So Allah Ta'ala declared in this ayah was anybody who commits kufr. Man kafara, this is unrestricted. Okay, it's completely unrestricted. The word man, it is mutlaq, it is unrestricted. It applies to everybody, every single person. Man, woman, young, old, doesn't matter. Unless the Sharia makes an exception, it will apply to everybody. So he says, whoever disbelieves after they had iman, they will be punished, severe punishment, have the anger of Allah upon them. Okay, but he made an exception in the ayah, except for the one under duress. So that's the only exception. Okay, if you want to make another exception, must be another evidence from the Quran and Sunnah, not from your own desires or anything else. So this is something we need to understand. Shirk and kufr will always be prohibited. We can never participate in or engage in it, no matter what the benefit we think there is in it. And in fact, there can never be any benefit in shirk anyway. Okay, we can never engage in shirk or kufr, no matter what the circumstances, unless it is duress, okay, or something else which the Sharia has defined by the Quran and Sunnah. Okay, by Quran and Sunnah. So, okay, I want to rub out this argument, okay, of theirs, and we need to examine a couple of things. We need to examine, first of all, are we under duress to vote? To see if it fits into that category or not. And we want to look to what is the real correct principle that we want to refer to, instead of aqallu sharrain, the lesser of the two evils. Okay, so the duress, as we mentioned in this ayah, okay, so we're looking at the verse 16, 106. We said in this verse we know the kufr is prohibited in all circumstances. Okay, number two, except duress. Okay, because the ayah says so. That means if you innovate any other exception to this rule, Any other exception to this rule, you are making a bid'ah, an innovation, and you are contradicting this verse. Because the ayah said, anybody who commits kufr, unless you're under duress, you are in hellfire. You are kafir. You disbelieve. Okay? That's what the ayah is telling us. So if you want to say, no, I'm not kafir, as if you are denying Allah Ta'ala's verse. You are contradicting what Allah said. Allah said, you are kafir. He said, no, you're not kafir. Okay? Unless you have another evidence from Allah about your exception, like you can say, for example, because he's insane. Okay, yes, we have evidence for that. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, the pen has been lifted from the one who's insane until he becomes sane. So we have evidence. So if he was insane and he walked into a polling booth or a ballot, the elections, and he was to put a little X on some paper and he put it in a box, he's insane, Majnoon. Okay, he's probably putting X's on papers and putting all sorts of letter boxes. Okay, so he's not going to be kafir. He's not accountable. But we have evidence for that. A child who wandered around, saw all these mushrikeen voting and putting X's on the little boxes, so they put a little X and want to copy the adults. Okay, he's a child. He's not accountable because the hadith said the pen be lifted from the child until he's mature. Okay, somebody sleepwalking. Okay, so here we have evidence for these exceptions from the Quran and Sunnah. But what exactly is the exception that they want to say? Some of the arguments that they say that we are facing necessity, okay, and duress, and these are some of the so-called duress that they claim that we're facing. Number one, they say BNP might come to power. Okay, I mean, this is a bit of a dream, really, but this is what they say is my duress. If I don't vote, BNP going to come to power. Okay, they are forcing me. They will say, I've heard this one as well. They say that the UK will continue bombing Muslims. And this is a funny one as well, because which one exactly are you going to vote for? Yeah? The only one that says they want to take the troops out of Iraq is the BNP. you vote the Conservative, Labour, they're all pro-war. Even Liberal Democrats, they all know we don't want war, we want peace and so on. Then when they went into war, say we want to win. Yeah? A bunch of hypocrites. They're not on your side. They are enemies to Islam, all of them. Yeah, if anything, these guys are offering money to pay us for our hijrah. They're saying, we'll give you the money and the plane ticket and give you £1,000 or a few £1,000 so you can settle somewhere else, okay, in your own Muslim countries, so you can make hijrah. Labour and Conservative want to arrest you if you make hijrah. It's true. So which one the lesser of the two evils? Ajib. I agree they're all evil, and I don't believe you should vote for any of them. But they're the ones saying, lesser of the two evils, which one are going to vote for, and so on. They want to vote for the ones who are really bombing the Muslims. So they want to stop the UK bombing Muslims by voting for the ones that want to bomb Muslims. This is their idea. So they say we're under duress because by not voting, these things will happen. Okay. What else do they say will happen? Okay. What else do they say? Yeah. Okay. They say there will be no one to represent us. Okay. I remember one brother said to me, but if we don't vote, if we don't stand as MPs, then how will we have a voice? So brother, I can hear you just fine. What else? What else do they say that will happen? I'm running out of these incredible dire consequences of not voting. Halal meat. Yeah. They're going to ban the halal meat or something. Yeah.
A voice. Again, it comes from the voice issue.
Yeah. They're going to ban halal meat or something like this. Okay. But in fact, to an extent, they already banned it because they said you have to stun it. Yeah. And the people who stun it don't stun it. Very few. Okay. And even those people who usually call for vote, they're quite happy to eat the stunned meat anyway. So, which halal meat exactly they're trying to save? What else?
Yeah, they're going to take over like that.
What's that?
The system.
Oh, they think they're going to. That's not really under duress. Okay, this is another argument. They think Okay, this is the benefit that they think they're going to happen.
And we have 50 MPs.
Okay.
Muslim majority.
Okay, they think we'll have a voice. They think we will, take over. They really think they really think the kuffar are stupid. They really think the kuffar are stupid. They think that they're going to allow the Muslims to come into the parliament, and from within they're going to abolish the whole democracy. Like Mursi. They thought that's what's going to happen. And if you want to see what happened to Mursi and you want to follow in those footsteps, that's up to you. But yeah, I mean, in reality, you know what happens? They go in there, all this Roshanara Ali and Sadiq Khan and all these people, and they say, yeah, we're going to have a Muslim voice, we're going to represent Islam there, we're going to go there, we're going to say Bismillah, and we're going to, vote in favor of Islam. One by one, we're trying to vote according to what Islam says. Then the vote comes along, what about gay marriages? Say, yeah, we're all for that. They start to vote for the gay marriages. And all of them did it. And they all exposed themselves. Every one of them, the so-called Muslim MPs, every one of them voted in favor of this blatant kufr law permitting the marriage between men and men or women and women. So what happened to all of that? Lesser of the two evils. We voted for the Muslim voice. Anybody who voted for them, they're responsible for them. They will have the same sin. They will share the same sin. So anyway, so are any of these really duress? Okay, even in some countries, okay, they said that it is compulsory by law.
Fine.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so it's compulsory by law in Australia and some of these countries, to vote. You have to vote. Okay, and of course, so what's going to happen if you don't vote? They're going to cut your hand off, or they're going to cut your head off. What's going to happen exactly? You get $20 fine. Okay, you probably spend the same money on the bus getting to the polling station and coming back. Just pay the fine. SubhanAllah. Call it a tax on being muwahhid. The Tawheed tax. Okay, anybody who wants to have Tawheed, they have to pay $20 every election. Fair enough, I'll pay, I want to be muwahhid, I don't want to be mushrik. It's much better. Yeah? Yes?
There's one, they say that by voting and being on the electoral roll, you get a better credit rating, which you would eventually be able to get a better mortgage.
Forget all that. Yeah. Forget all that. Now we're just making fun of them now. I know they say it. I know they say it. Yeah. Okay, so all of this, what they claim is duress. Okay, so what exactly is duress? Okay, and what did the ulama say is duress, or the conditions of duress in the first place? Okay, well, the ulama said that there's 4 conditions to be real duress. Okay, which is binding. Obviously, the exact guidelines, they are disputed, but something which is clear from all of them, and been mentioned by Ibn Hajar as well, is that you need to have these 4 conditions. And just to give it to you in the right order, let me get it up inshallah for myself. Yep, there we go. Okay, so first of all, the first condition for to be real duress, the threat against you. Okay. By the way, there needs to be a threat against you. I mean, somebody actually has to threaten you, not you took it upon yourself to call yourself under duress. Nobody's looking at you. Nobody's telling you anything, and you declaring, "I don't like the way they look at me. They're threatening me." They didn't threaten you. It must be real. So there must be a real threat against you to harm you physically. Okay. I mean, it needs to be either the full duress, okay, which is life and death, that they're going to kill you, or the lesser duress, al-ikrah naqis, at least some kind of imprisonment or mutilation, or they're going to actually cut something off. If you look at what the ulama said in the Salaf, they were tough. Those ulama were tough. They used to put down conditions really heavy. Okay, even Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah, his condition was among the least among them. He used to say that you need to be so terrified of their own threat that they're going to kill you, that your mouth and your throat become completely dry, you can't swallow. You can't, you become so terrified like this. The whole moisture of your face gone. Okay? At this point, this is the minimum. You look to the others, they said, Okay, Imam Ahmad, Imam Malik. No, they used to say, unless they've actually hit you, unless they've actually hit you already, you're not under duress. You guys understand? Some of them, they said, they need to hit you first. Then you say you're under duress. Not before they hit you, you say, no, I'm under duress. Others, they said, that not only do they have to hit you, okay? Some they say, you just give it a slap and say, oh, I'm under duress now. Okay, I commit kufr, I commit shirk, I do everything. Yeah? No, so no. It needs to be, real hits, meaning needs to be internal bleeding, some kind of bruising, or needs to be broken bones, something broken underneath. If you didn't do that, then you're not really under duress. Then it's just anybody can take a slap from now and then. No, it's not end of the world. You're not facing what Bilal faced, being left out in the desert with the boulder in his chest so he can't breathe. That's not the same. So they said it needs to be some kind of actual physical damage done to you, serious, some kind of bruising or bleeding. Something needs to happen. Imam Shafi'i, he was tougher than all of this. He said no. He said, look, until they actually cut something off your body, you're not really under duress. He said, well, you coward? No, you're not under duress until they do something like this. So you see how the ulama, they used to put conditions. Not, I'm worried about the BNP. What if they get too popular? They don't have any votes now, but what if one day they get too many votes? That's not called duress. Okay? That's not called threat. Nobody threatened you. Nobody said to you, unless you vote, I'm going to shoot you. Nobody said that to you. Nobody said if you don't vote, you're going to be imprisoned. We're going to take your eyes away. We're going to cut out your eyes. None of us said that. Okay? Worst that they said is what? We'll give you bad credit. Okay? We'll give you a $20 fine. Okay? Something like that. Send you a letter, an angry letter. That's not duress. It's not duress. The duress needs to be real harm. Threat. And even if we take the least of it, Imam Abu Hanifa's least of it is what? He said, needs to at least be such a genuine threat that you become so terrified of that threat that you're completely, your mouth and throat becomes dry. At least. But it needs to be of a real threat against you. To your body, killing, mutilation, imprisonment, something like this. Okay? Or to you or to your family, to your children, your wife, something like that. This is the duress. Okay, so the first condition. The second condition, okay, to be real duress, because ikrah means the one who is forced to do something that he hates in his heart. That's by definition the one who's under duress. Meaning he would never do it if it was not for that person forcing him, because he hates it in his heart. Okay? If it wasn't for that person threatening him, he would never do it because he hates it. Okay? But he's only doing it under that threat when his heart is full of iman and hatred for what he's being forced to do. Okay? So the first thing must be that threat to your body. Okay? The second, the one who is being threatened, or the one who is threatening you, okay, the person who's threatening you, he needs to be capable to carry out that threat. He needs to be capable to carry out that threat. Okay? Somebody says, I'm going to shoot you, but he doesn't have a gun. What's he going to shoot you with? Okay? Somebody says that he's going to beat you up, and you're 7 foot tall, and he's what, 4 foot. Okay? How exactly is he going to beat you up? So if he's looking at him and said, what do you mean you're going to beat me up? He's not under duress. He's not under duress. He needs to have a conviction based upon certainty or least amount of doubt that the one who's threatening him, really is capable, of fulfilling that threat. And it needs to be something which is, capable to be fulfilled in the first place, not some, imaginary, threats. Okay, so that's the second thing. The third thing is that the one who is being forced, he must have no capability to resist or defend himself, nor run away and make a hijrah. And this is very important. Okay, let me write this on the board, inshallah. Okay, so these are the conditions of real duress. Okay, I'm gonna rub all this nonsense off the board. We don't need all of this business. Okay, so conditions of duress. Okay, we said. Okay, needs to be threat to life. Okay, e.g. killing, mutilation, okay, imprisonment, etc. Okay, even if we don't take the really strong stance of some of the Salaf who said until they've already started to harm you, then you're not under duress. No, I said okay, let's say they threatened you. At least the threat is enough. Okay, and it's something which is subjective. Each person is different. Some people are stronger than others. Some people they can take more than others. So if he doesn't feel that threat, if he doesn't feel that he's really being forced, then he shouldn't take the permit. The one who feels he's under that threat, then he takes the permit, and obviously that is permit for him, for Allah. From us, from outside, we see the one imprisoned or being captured or being tortured. We judge by that, and we say, okay, he's under duress. Allah, we don't know what's in his heart. Okay, so we assume and we say that his words and deeds don't count. Okay, but for you, if you're the one being threatened, you need to judge yourself. Okay, are you really facing that or not? The second one, okay. What's a good word for the one who's forcing you? What's a good word for this? The oppressor. Okay. The zalim. Be more specific. The one who's forcing you, basically. Okay. The forcer. Let's just call it. Come on. It's better. Just make up our own word. It's better if we have to. It makes more sense than the English language anyway. So the forcer must be capable, double meaning, must be capable to carry out his threat. Okay, and also as a sub-point to this, we say the threat must be, real, and what's to say? It's possible. Must be possible to occur. Okay. For example, if somebody said to you, "Look, if you don't do so and so, then I'm gonna send you to hellfire." He's got no capability to do that. He can't threaten you with that. He can't do it. Okay? So the threat must be real. It must be something not imaginary. Not something you're just imagining it. Okay? It must be something that is really capable to possible to occur. Okay? BNP is never going to come to power. It's not something which is real. It's just it just dreams. Okay? Even if we said possible, there's no real threat of it at all. Nobody's threatened. Nobody's actually threatened by BNP going to become the next prime minister. It's not going to happen. Okay. The third one we said, the forced. Okay. Must not be capable. Okay. To resist. Okay, or defend himself. Okay, nor escape. Okay, if he's got conviction, then he can just walk out the room and leave. He's not being forced. He's not under duress because he's got another option. The whole point of duress is you have no option. You have no other choice. Your only choice is to do what they're threatening you to do, or to die. That needs to be, to be real duress. Then you have the permit from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save your life by doing that action. But if you have the option of, okay, why don't I just beat him up? Why don't I just resist and defeat him? Okay, why don't I just leave? Okay, why not? Okay, why not? Including here, hijrah. Okay, including here hijrah. Especially, so I'll give you an ayah to point out this point, number 3 in particular. Okay, in Surah Nisa, verse 97, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَوَفَّاهُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ ظَالِمِي أَنفُسِهِمْ قَالُوا فِيمَا كُنْتُمْ. He said, when the angels take the souls of those who are oppressing themselves, they will say to them, what was your situation? Why were you oppressing? Why were you committing the sins? Why were you disobeying Allah? In fact, this ayah was revealed about people who allied with the Quraysh against the Muslims in Badr. Okay, it's revealed about them. They committed this tawalli and allied with them in their own battle in Badr against the Rasulullah and the believers. So he said, what was your situation? And they will claim that they were forced under duress. That was their own claim, that was their excuse. They said that they were forced. Even Abbas, he claimed how he was forced. And so they will say, قَالُوا كُنَّا مُصَدْعَفِينَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. They said we were weak and oppressed and forced, suppressed in the earth. We were the ones so weak, so oppressed. They were forcing us to do this and forcing us to do that. And they had BNP and EDL and QDL, this is the Qurayshi Defense League. And they had all the torture against us. No? And all these attacks against us. What can we do except to compromise? Okay? Take less of the two evils. Okay? So the angels, did they say, okay, fair enough, you under duress, you take less of the two evils? No. They said, hang on a minute. Was it really duress? قالوا ألم تكن أرض الله واسعة فتهاجروا فيها. They will say, wasn't the earth wide enough for you to make hijrah? Why you sit in the middle of Mecca so they can torture you? So I'm so oppressed. Why don't you leave? You could have gone somewhere else. People, they were oppressed, they went to Abyssinia to escape that oppression, but they never compromised. People went to Medina. But why you sit here and you want to compromise? People want to live in the UK. They want to enjoy themselves in the UK. And then they want to say, oh, we are so oppressed and tortured and forced to commit the shirk in the UK. No, you're committing that shirk willingly. You're doing it willingly, happily. And you even cheer when the guy you voted for wins. That's not duress. You know Ammar bin Yasir, when he took the permit of duress and he said some words only about the idols, he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam crying, and his tears were going down his beard. Crying, why? Out of regret. He wished he never did it, even though he was forced. Because that's the difference between one who his heart is full of iman and hates what he's doing. That's ikrah. Ikrah from the word kariha, the one who hates. And ikrah means you force somebody to do something he hates. So he hates that he had to do it. These people, they don't hate the idea of voting. They love the idea of voting. They're cheering. And I remember they were carrying George Galloway on their own shoulders. Why? You don't know this man doesn't know about istinja? And you got him on your shoulders? Look. So the ayah is absolutely clear. Don't claim to me you're under duress and you are able to make hijrah and leave. And save yourself from that duress. But you chose not to save yourself from the duress. You can't put yourself in it. Okay? Go to the kuffar and say, look, here's my hands. Tie me up and force me to do some haram. Okay? No. That's not called duress. You need to be convinced you cannot resist, you cannot defend, you cannot escape, you cannot run away. Even if we read on as well. Okay? Allah described who are the real people who are oppressed. Under duress. He said, إِلَّا الْمُسْتَضْعَفِينَ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ وَالنِّسَاءِ وَالْبِلْدَانِ لَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ حِيلَةً وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ سَبِيلًا. He said, except for those who were really the weak and oppressed from the men, women and children, who they could not devise any plan or any way to defend or to go against them, nor did they find any way to make hijrah or to leave. Okay? So the condition here, that you cannot defend yourself nor escape from that, from that person who's threatening you. Okay? Otherwise, don't call it duress. The fourth one, okay? The fourth one is he must have conviction. Okay? That the threat is real. And they really will carry it out. Okay, they really will carry it out. You need to have that conviction, because otherwise it's very easy to claim you're under duress. You go on Twitter, people threaten you all the time. Yeah, people threaten you all the time. Oh, we'll kill you if you don't stop this. Okay. If you don't stop all your preaching, then we're gonna come to your house. We're gonna find out where you live. So if you say, oh, subhanAllah, I'm under duress now, I can leave the da'wah, I don't need to do any more da'wah anymore because I'm under duress. But no, because you know this man's never going to come to your house. You know this man's never going to harm you or touch you. And you know that if he ever came to a Muslim area, he'll run away with his tail between his legs. You know that's the case. Tommy Robinson will never come to Whitechapel. Even when they said we're coming to East London, they go to Aldgate outside and just go by. Just go by the borders, the edges. Yeah? And sort of wave, kind of. That's all they do. They'll never actually come into a Muslim area. The one time that the bus took a wrong turn and actually came in, they left with holes in it, you know, windows and everything smashed. So, you know, I remember at first they had to get armoured cars to come to Brick Lane, didn't they? Yeah? Armoured cars, military cars, vans, just to come drive through Brick Lane. And you see, and they're still scared.
Still got flat tires.
Yeah, they do, yeah. MashaAllah. By somebody on crutches, yeah, in a cast. You know, subhanAllah. Anyway. So look, if those 4 conditions are not met, it's not duress. You can't say to me, lesser of the 2 evils, because you have another option. Especially when you have the option of hijrah. And I don't mean necessarily even hijrah to Darul Islam. Any kind of hijrah. Okay? Because those people, usually, who are giving you this fatwa, you see them on flights in all sorts of countries giving talks in here. Suddenly he's in Saudi Arabia, next minute he's in Qatar, next minute he's in America and Australia, going here and there, and all over Europe, Norway and Spain and Germany, Denmark, all to say what? Go out and vote. Okay, go out and vote. If you're under duress in the UK, and then you went all the way to Saudi Arabia and all the way to America, why don't you stay there? Why you come back for? Why you come back and put yourself under duress for? Why you do all of this, go to all this trouble to put yourself in the prison that you claim that you're living in? Okay, if you're able to make hijrah, don't claim that you were under the duress. Okay, even some funny things, those people who really are, trapped in this country and they can't run away, they never want to vote. They never want to vote because they know very well that it's not, and they're not being forced to do that in the first place. Okay, so this is one point. So we're not talking about duress. Nobody's forcing you in this country to vote for anybody. Okay, nobody at all. Even those countries where it's compulsory by law, they're not actually forcing you, because all they're going to do is they're going to send you basically, a tax, $20 tax, for your tawheed. Okay, is it oppression? But I'd rather sign that. That's if you want to call it lesser of 2 evils, that's the lesser of the 2 evils. Okay, which is the greater evil? Pay $20, go to hellfire. Shirk, commit shirk. Which one is greater? So you're going to go to the lesser option, for greater reason. Okay, so this is one point, inshallah. Now, another principle in the Sharia in Usul al-Fiqh that we want to talk about is التعبير. Okay, التعبير عن مسائل الفقه والعقائد بألفاظ النصوص أولى من التعبير بألفاظ النفوس. Meaning, explaining the matters of the fiqh and the aqidah, creed, using the words of the text is always better than explaining it using the words of people. Okay, always better. Okay, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has the best speech, the best words, the best guidance. The Quran is the best of all speech and the most accurate and perfect, without any contradictions, without any mistakes. And even the Prophet ﷺ, Allah blessed him with his speech is revelation. And he had al-jawami' al-kalim, he had the very concise words. They had all the correct meaning. And it was revelation from Allah, meaning it was free from any fault. So the Quran and the Sunnah is the best words to use. When the people, they try to, rephrase the Quran and Sunnah, paraphrase it and put it in their own words, and then establish a principle, it will always be less accurate than the original wording of the Quran and Sunnah. Okay? Always be the case. And that's why, a lot of the time people, they go astray when it comes to usul al-fiqh. Because they start to talk about, for example, this idea of less of the two evils. This is not ayah or hadith. This is what people, they've tried to extrapolate and explain from what they understand from the verses of the Quran and Sunnah. But if we stick to the Quran and Sunnah, then we're safe. It's much better for us. Okay? So, one of the principles that is closer to the haqq, and closer to the text, is what we say, what is أخف الضررين or أقل الضررين, the lesser of the two harms. And this is very different from lesser of the two evils. Okay? So, lesser of the two harms, okay, lesser of the two harms. That is not the same as evil, because not everything harmful thing, okay, is what we're talking about in this context, okay, is necessarily evil. Okay, so somebody, he could have a permissible action within what Allah Ta'ala has permitted him to choose. His, take this option or take that option. Both of them are good. But one of them is more beneficial than the other. One of them maybe contains a bit more harm than the other. Okay, for example, you want to eat, you can eat the oiliest, greasiest, food, okay, or you can eat the healthier option. One is more harmful than the other. Okay, one has more harm than the other. So here, when Allah has given you a choice, you take the lesser of the two harms. The more benefit, the greater of the two benefits. And that obviously we know from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that whenever Allah gave him a choice between two, he would choose the easier of the two options. Okay, this is one of the evidences for this principle. That whenever the Prophet was given a choice between two, he would choose the easier of the two options. Okay, it's not about making your life hard for yourself. Allah doesn't want to make life difficult for you. Okay, there's a verse in the Quran that says Allah does not want to make it hard for you. He wants to make it easy for you. Okay, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Yassiru wa la tu'assiru." He said, make it easy for the people, don't make it hard for the people. That doesn't mean make the alcohol halal for the people, make the gambling halal. No. In the matters Allah has given you a choice, choose the easier option. Okay? Choose the easier option. It's permissible for you to listen to this halaqah standing up, and it's permissible for you to listen sitting down. Okay? But the Prophet said to me, said to the ummah, make it easy for the people, don't make it hard. So I'm not going to make you stand. We'll give you chairs so you can sit down. Alhamdulillah. You can sit. Okay, both permissible. Doesn't mean if you stand up you're sinful, because it's permissible for you. Okay, but you have the easier option, is better. Okay, the standing will make you tired, will make your legs hurt. Okay, whereas the sitting will make you relax. So you see, one has less harm than the other. Another evidence for this principle is the hadith of Safina, the hadith of the boat. When the Prophet ﷺ said that the people are like, the example of the one who stands up for the limits of Allah and the one who falls down upon it, is like people living on a boat. Some of them on the top deck and some of them on the bottom deck. Whenever those in the bottom deck, they need water, they have to go to the people above them. Okay, and that harms them. Okay, the hadith says they go to the people above them and that harms them. Why? Because they keep bothering them, sacrificing their own time. Maybe they get wet. Whatever the case is, they cause a little bit of harm to the people above them because they are needy for them to sacrifice something for them. They have to get the water to give to them. And then along come one very bright innovator with a fatwa. He said that in fact we need to take another option. We need to have new ways of doing things. And he said, if only we made a hole in the bottom of the ship and stopped harming the people above us. Okay, he said, وَلَمْ نُؤْذِ مَنْ فَوْقَنَا, and so that we wouldn't harm the people above us. Okay, so we make a hole in the bottom of the ship. Because they said, look, we are in the bottom of the ship. There's water all around us. Why do you have to go to the people, harm the people above us, but we get the water directly from underneath? Okay, and the Prophet said, if they don't stop them, they will all drown. Okay, but if they forbid the evil, they stop it and prevent them, then they will save them. They will all be saved together. So one of the principles we learn from this hadith is that we will endure the lesser harm, okay, of bothering the people above us to get water, give us water every time. We'll endure that. We'll accept it in order to ward off the greater harm of drowning everybody by trying to get the water underneath. Okay, so this is where we get this principle. The two separate principles. One is that we'll take the lesser, whenever Allah gives a choice, we'll take the lesser of the two harmful options. And the second one is that we will endure the lesser harm in order to prevent the greater harm. Okay, and the third principle we'll take from this hadith as well is that it's not allowed to prevent an evil by something similar to it or by something greater than it. Okay, this is an important principle because we're going to show you how this applies to us now as well when it comes to the elections. Okay, so we said it's not allowed for you to change a munkar or to prevent an evil by something greater than it or something similar to it. You don't stop the haram by committing haram. You don't stop the shirk by committing shirk. Or even worse, you want to stop the haram sin by committing shirk. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. We don't have that possibility at all. Okay, we don't allow that option whatsoever. So all these are real principles. Okay, these are all the real principles. That's the two arms. Let me write these on the board, inshallah. Okay, so we said we will endure the lesser harm to prevent a greater harm. Okay? Okay? And all this we're talking about permissible matters in the first place. Okay? When Allah has given us a choice between two, okay, it's permissible for them to go to the people above them even though it harms them. And it's their own boat, they can make a hole in it. But in this particular situation, because it's going to destroy them, it becomes prohibited for them. But originally it's permissible to make a hole in your own boat. To smash your own car window. The example we always give, imagine now you left your keys in your own car. And it's auto locked, one of those cars supposed to be in your favor, and you end up making life difficult for you. You left your keys in the car, and now it's auto locked itself. And you got no other spare key. So what are you going to do? If you leave it there, somebody will see it, smash the window, and they'll still steal your car. That's a greater harm. The other option you've got is you can smash your window yourself and keep your car. Okay? But this one is permissible for you. Why? Because it's your car. You have haqq tasarruf. You have the right to dispose of your car. You can destroy it if you want. You can burn your own car if you want to. It's not haram. You can sell it. You can do what you want with it. So you can smash your own window. But now, which window are you going to smash? You've got option. Either we can take the small, tiny little window at the back, of the passenger side of the rear seat, the little corner one. Yeah, smash that one. Open, get in there, or maybe you can just get a screwdriver and just jiggle it around, or hang on, unlock the car, and say maybe you can have a little bend in your car door. That's it. Or you can smash the windscreen and climb in the front. All of them permissible, but one of them is much more harmful than the other. So here, between these permissible options, we will take the lesser of the two harms. We will adopt the lesser of the two harms. Okay? So this is one, we'll endure the lesser harm to prevent a greater harm. We said as well that we cannot change evil or harm by something similar or greater than it. Okay, I'll give you another example here. Okay, because think about this for a second. Can you ward off the evil of Mr. Evil MP number 2 by voting for Mr. Evil MP number 1? Okay, no, because basically you're doing the same thing. You're going to try and stop this evil shirk and taghut by worshipping another evil shirk taghut. You can't change the munkar by committing a munkar. Okay, you can't do that. It's not acceptable. Just like another analogy, what's the hukum? Anybody who's ever studied the topic of ruqya and sihr, somebody's done magic upon you, sihr. Okay, some evil magician, really evil, taghut. Every magician is taghut anyway. So is it allowed for me to go to the lesser taghut magician in order to undo the magic of the other evil magician. What's the hukum? You're still mushrik. You're still kafir. It's not allowed. You don't do magic to stop another magic. Okay? That's not allowed for us to do that. So we can see how this whole idea of let's vote for one magician to stop the other magician, or let's vote for one MP to stop the other MP, is completely prohibited. Okay? It's completely prohibited. We cannot change it by something similar to it. Okay? Okay. The other thing we want to look at is the idea of what exactly is harm and evil in the first place, and how do we know which one is greater or lesser. Okay, I don't want to make the video too long. How long have we got so far? I may make just a couple more points and then we'll... 1 hour already? SubhanAllah. I'll just make one more point then, inshallah. I'll just make one more point because I don't want to make it too long. Okay, so the point I want to make now is, which evil is greater? Okay, which evil is greater? So let's say we want to make a choice between two evils, even if we wanted to. Okay, even if it was a real under duress. Which of these two is greater? Okay, 1. BNP come to power. Okay, and let's say they are racist. They're going to deport everybody. And they're going to maybe beat us all up even as well. Let's say maybe they're going to even kill some of us. Okay, let's go to that extent. Versus shirk in Allah. Which is the greater evil out of these two? Okay, by voting. Here, shirk in Allah, by voting for a legislator. Okay, for a legislator. Okay, I'm going to put here versus this one. BNP come to power. Let's say they kill all Muslims in the UK. I'm being serious. Let's say, imagine it was a real threat. Okay, either they kill all the Muslims in the UK, or you commit shirk in Allah by voting for a legislator. Okay, we're not under duress here, so it's not real duress. But here's the issue. So you're afraid that maybe they're going to kill us all. Okay? And you're also afraid you're going to go to hellfire by voting for a legislator, commit shirk in Allah subhanahu. Which is the greater evil? Which one is it that we want to ward off by enduring the lesser of the two? Okay? We have some other questions as well we can add. Okay? Yeah, minus is better, inshallah. Okay, so kill all Muslims in the UK. Okay? Or let's say they ban the hijab or the niqab. Okay? Let's ban the hijab, make it even worse. Okay? Versus shirk in Allah. Okay? Which is greater? Which is worse? Which is the greater evil? The shirk in Allah subhanahu. Okay? The question is, do you believe in Tawheed or not? Do you believe in Allah or not? What is the greatest crime of all, out of all of them? Which is greater than the murder, greater than the rape, greater than the oppression and the tyranny? What's greater than all of that? What's greater than all the fitna? It's shirk in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Inna shirka la dhulmun azim." The shirk is the greatest oppression. Okay. In another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Inna Allah la yaghfiru an yushraka bih." Allah does not forgive anybody that commits shirk in Him. وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ. But He will forgive anything less than that. Meaning there is no crime greater than shirk. That is the greatest one. That is the greatest evil, is the shirk in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The idea of making a man Lord instead of Allah to legislate for you. That is the great crime. Allah says, أَمْ لَهُمْ شُرَكَاء شَرَعُوا لَهُمْ مِنَ الدِّينِ مَا لَمْ يَأْذَنْ بِهِ اللَّهُ. Do they have partners with Allah that legislate for them a way of life without permission from Allah? That shirk is the great crime. That is the greatest evil. Okay? I'm going to give you some of the references, inshallah, for your benefit. I just need to quickly look them up. Okay, I believe the first one in Surah Luqman, I think. Inna shirka la dhulmun adhim. The shirk is the greatest oppression. 31. What verse?
13.
Surah 31, verse 13. Is that right? MashaAllah, MashaAllah. 31, 13. Okay. Yes, correct. MashaAllah. And the other one I believe is 411, 4115 or something like that. Let me just double check.
No, Surah Nisa 48.
Okay, there's two of them. One I'm thinking about is 4116 and 448. Did you say as well? Okay, so 4116 and 448. Okay, and we said as well 4221. Says, do you have partners with Allah that legislate for them a way of life without permission from Allah? And also we want to have another verse inshallah here as well. Okay, and there's a few of these verses. I mean, in Surah Baqarah, that al-fitnatu akbar min al-qatl. There's two of them. Al-fitnatu akbaru and al-fitnatu ashaddu. Both of them. Okay, so Surah 2 verse 217. Surah 2 verse 217. Okay. And this verse actually, listen to this verse. I'm going to read this verse to you. Just think about it for a second, inshallah. And think about it in the context of the propaganda war that's going on. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الشَّهْرِ الْحَرَامِ قِتَالٍ فِيهِ. Okay, so they ask you about the sacred months and fighting it. And the reason why they said that is because in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet sent a group of Sahaba to spy on a group of the Mushrikeen. And when they saw them, they said, look, we can capture them so easily. But they said the only problem is it's the sacred months. And it's well known from the Arabs, the custom, they don't fight in the sacred months. You know, it's like for them international law. You don't do it. It's the Geneva Convention. You don't fight in the sacred months. So the Sahaba, they fought. And it became the big propaganda campaign. Look, these people, barbaric terrorists, they don't obey the international law, no human rights, human wrongs, United Nations resolution, everything. They are the big terrorists. They are the Islamic State in Medina of Rasulullah. They are these are the real criminals, the backwards, all the words. So look, how dare they fight in the sacred months. Look what they're doing. So Allah revealed this ayah in response to all this propaganda. Look, they're burning the murderers. Look that they are killing all of our soldiers. All the arguments that they said to condemn and to vilify the Muslims and to make them look in front of all the Arabs that these guys are barbaric. They don't even abide by the sacred months. They don't even abide by human rights. So Allah Ta'ala replied with this ayah. He said, look, they're asking you about these sacred months. Okay? And fighting in these sacred months. قُلْ قِتَالٌ فِيهِ كَبِيرٌ. He said fighting in it is something really big. Something very serious. Okay? Something very serious. وَصَدٌّ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَكُفْرٌ بِهِ وَالْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ وَإِخْرَاجُ أَهْلِهِ مِنْهُ أَكْبَرُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ وَالْفِتْنَةُ أَكْبَرُ مِنَ الْقَتْلِ. And then Allah said, but those who are being obstacles in the way of Allah, they are ta'ifatun mumtani'ah. They are preventing the Sharia being implemented. Those people who want to prevent Islam from prevailing. Those people who want to prevent an Islamic state being established, Khilafah being established. Those who want to prevent the Sharia authority spreading. They want to prevent the jihad. وَصَدٌّ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَكُفْرٌ بِهِ, and disbelieving in Allah. And preventing people from going to Al-Masjid Al-Haram. And throwing out his people from Mecca. Occupying their lands, taking their own homes, giving the Jews Palestine. Occupying Iraq and Afghanistan and Somalia and Kashmir. Which land are they not occupying? He said all of this is greater in the eyes of Allah. That's how you respond to the propaganda of the war. Okay? Not to say, okay, Mr. Kafir comes along to say to you, look, oh my God, they burnt the Jordanian pilot. So what does he start to say? Mr. Chocolate Moderate. The reason why we call them chocolate, by the way, okay, is because they are one of two. Either they melt and become like one of the kuffar, or they get eaten by the kuffar. One of the two. Okay? So Mr. Chocolate Moderate, when he hears Mr. Kafir complaining to him, so sad, and said, what do you have to say about it? What do you have to say about the pilot? He starts apologizing and says, I'm so sorry. But he should respond the way this verse Allah taught us to respond. Say, look, absolutely, the death of that pilot was gruesome. Okay, it was gruesome. It's terrifying, absolutely terrifying. It's something really big news, absolutely serious matter. But what you kuffar are doing, preventing Sharia, arresting Muslims, raiding their homes, bombing Muslims in Afghanistan and Iraq, torturing them in Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo Bay, preventing people from their own lives because of Islam, fighting Islam. That is worse. That is much worse than one murderer has some justice. Much worse than that. And not only that, وَالْفِتْنَةُ أَكْبَرُ مِنَ الْقَتْلِ. Allah said, and al-fitna, Ibn Abbas said, al-fitna is the kufr and the shirk. The shirk is greater, much greater than even the killing. Much greater than the murder or the killing. So even if people killed, but you're the one who are committing shirk in Allah, that's even worse. That's even worse than committing shirk in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the greatest crime of all. So which is the greater crime? They kill all Muslims in the UK, or what? You commit shirk in Allah. You know Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab? He said that even if all of the people of the Bedouin and the cities, they gathered together and they fought each other until they were all killed, that is less harm than one taghut to commit shirk in Allah. Because of this verse and the other verses as well. Okay, al-fitnah ashaddu min al-qatl as well. I will, for the sake of the brother, I have to quote this verse now as well. Surah 2 verse 191. Surah 2 verse 191. Similar wording. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that he said, yeah, he said, وَالْفِتْنَةُ أَشَدُّ مِنَ الْقَتْلِ. He said, and the fitna, the shirk, it is harder, okay, is more severe than the killing or the murder. Okay, so brothers, there is no crime, no sin, no evil, no harm that can come to us worse than us committing shirk in Allah. There is nothing more harmful to us in this dunya than from us to commit shirk in Allah, because that will be the greatest crime that Allah will never forgive. Allah is the one who forgives all sins, that is His attribute. Yet He negated and forbade Himself from forgiving the shirk in Allah. How serious is this matter? But He said, any other sin, I'll forgive whoever I like. Anybody else, anything else, will forgive. Okay? The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that if somebody came to meet Allah with sins like the weight of the earth, but he didn't commit shirk in Allah, Allah will forgive all of the sins and replace it with forgiveness and reward equal. Why? Because he didn't commit shirk in Allah. Just because he didn't commit that one shirk, that one crime. And now people want to permit that crime for the sake of some dunya benefit. Okay? And look to, subhanAllah, look to, this one verse as well is enough to refute the whole concept of we should, for the sake of some benefit in this life, we should take the less of the two evils, disobey Allah just a little bit, not a lot. The less, the smaller amount. In Surah Tawbah verse 24, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قل إن كان آباؤكم وأبناؤكم وإخوانكم وأزواجكم وعشيرتكم وأموال اقترفتموها وتجارة تخشون كسادها ومساكن ترضونها أحب إليكم من الله ورسوله وجهاد في سبيله فتربصوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره. He said, say if your parents and your children and your brothers and sisters and your wives, okay, or husbands, and your tribes and relatives, and all the wealth that you've been piling up and saving, and all of your business that you're afraid, you're worried that it's going to decline, and all of your homes even that you're living in as well. If any of these things, and these are all permissible things, Allah is not talking about haram things. If all of these permissible, beneficial, beloved things to any human being, if any of these are more beloved to you than Allah and His Messenger and the jihad fi sabilillah, wait until the punishment of Allah comes to you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not allow the Muslim to disobey Allah in just one hukum of jihad fi sabilillah for the sake of all of this benefit and all of this potential harm, that he could lose all of this. And it wasn't an excuse for him to leave the jihad fi sabilillah. What about to commit shirk in Allah? What about to become a kafir after he had iman? Where did this principle idea and this idea come from? That we can just disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we can disobey the Sharia, that we can not only just disobey, because we're not even talking about some small sin. We're not even talking about somebody says, look, imagine that we changed it. Imagine the MP said, no, you don't have to vote for me, you need to commit zina. Imagine the MP said to the woman, Muslim woman, if you commit zina with so-and-so, a politician, we will stop all the bombings of the Muslims. We'll stop it all. And we'll give you all masajid. And we'll give you all the maslahah and the benefits. And if you don't, we're going to carry on with our war, which we've been fighting for hundreds of years anyway, with our crusades. We've been doing all this time. But just commit this zina. You think that's duress? You think she has a permit to do that? It's not allowed. It's rejected. Nobody will accept it. You know why? Because when it comes to this matter, people, they start thinking about, oh my God, that's my haqq. I have, wife, I have daughter. What if it was my sister? What if it was my wife that was ordered to do that? That's my haqq, my ghira, my own honor. What about the haqq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is it not more worthy to be protected? Is the sanctity of Allah not more worthy to be protected and preserved than your own sanctity? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the only one worthy to be worshipped, followed and obeyed. He is the only legislator. He is the only one that can account us, that we will return to and we'll have to answer for our deeds. He's the only one who can tell us halal, haram, legal, illegal. He's the only one that can manage our affairs according to His laws where we govern. And anybody who wants to take that haqq of Allah and give it to somebody else, they are committing the greatest evil. They are not committing the lesser of the two evils. Okay, because they have another option. Okay, because all of this argument is based upon the idea that you only have these two options. Everybody has a third option, and this is where we're going to finish, inshallah. You can take this option here. Stay Muslim, don't vote. That is not even evil. You don't need to choose lesser two evils. Take the third option, don't do any evil. Stay back. When Allah Ta'ala, the way Allah Ta'ala said, وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. Whatever the Prophet ordered you or gave you, take it. And whatever he forbade you, leave it. Don't do it. Don't vote. وَأَخْذَ وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ.